But let's get into these albums a little bit more, because there's some things I wanted to cover, some like suggestions that I would give for the album, even though I have very little critique or suggestions I could give. Some of the best verses that I heard, and some songs I may have skipped and didn't go over in the last session I did. So I guess I'll start with KRIT is here this time. My top tracks would have to be Believe. He just went hard on that track. I like how aggressive he was. Also Prove It. And what I didn't really touch on was J. Cole's verse. I felt like it fit real well into this album. Not album, but this song particular. I thought it was just kind of random that he was talking about one of the first fans he had ever met or something like that. And it kind of fits within the concept of the song. If you believe in me, prove it. So from on his verse, he was saying that the girl worked for Delta, so she would fly and be at every one of his shows. So ain't no other way to prove that, you rocking with somebody than going to every show that they do. So, I went back and looked at that first. I was like, dang, man, I like how Cole did that. I thought it was just random at first how he told that story. Prove It was one of my favorites. Every Time. I love Baby Rose. I like her, man. I really like her voice, and she really added to not only this album, but also a lot on the Revenge of the Dreamers album. And I've checked out some of her, went back and looked at some of her music. She's pretty good. Learn from Texas. That's the slapper right there. I love Learn from Texas. And this is one I kind of consider a sleeper here. Blue Flame Ballet. I would have to say that's last on my list. And I went back and listened to this song. At first it was like, okay, it's a song about the strip club, but then you kind of look back at it, it's almost like he's storytelling about this girl. She's in the strip club, but she dances elegantly, but it's kind of like he's having a conversation with her. You could do so much better than being in a strip club. You could be on Dancing with the Stars and being in movies and stuff like that. So I kind of got that from Blue Flame Ballet. So those are my top tracks with KRIT is here. But pretty much everything, even the songs I said I really wasn't into last time I went back and listened to them. I think it was High Beams and Light in the Sun or something like that. The last two before Mississippi. So those two, I'm even starting to like those now, just as if I've listened more to the album. All right, so getting into best verses, wordplay, punchlines, things along that. All right, so getting into best verses, wordplay, punchlines, all things like that. I guess I'll start off. The first one that stood out to me was Mississippi. Maybe I'm so southern eyes sometimes scared ignorant people's possession of independence. Mississippi. It's kind of hard to say that though. Let's see. Next song, probably Prove It with J. Cole's verse. I cannot remember that off the top of the head, so let me look that up real quick here. Wrote more songs than a man could count, trying to figure out how to put them out without watering down my brand. I don't want them to not want my jams, don't want to become something that nobody want to hear, but I recognize this is a fear. Why do I care if I ain't got your ear? That ain't revered. If I ain't revered, then why am I here? So I guess with this kind of struggling on not watering, he says something about watering down his brand. So struggling with not putting out too much music that could water down his message, or finding the right type of message to bring out in his songs. It seems like that's what he's struggling with in that verse. But other than that, let's see. Family Matters, even though I really wasn't that much of a fan of this song, I like that line where he says Bruce Lee show enough. That movie is a classic. Barry Gordy's Last Dragon. All right, so I think that's gonna be it for Crit. So let me give some suggestions that I thought that could have been improved upon. Going back to that Family Matters track, this is just a small nitpick. He had the sample in there from, I think it's Street Fighter, because I could hear Tiger and You Win. I thought that would have fit better on the Every Time track, because you had the hook, dreamed of all the things that I could be, I win every time. I thought those samples would have went perfect with that song in the background. So that was probably the only thing that I really just found that could have been switched. But other than that, like I said, I couldn't find really anything bad with this album. It's a good album. So that being said, let's go ahead and move on to Revenge of the Dreamers 3. I'll end it off with that this time.